Hey guys, it's Kyle Kennedy from Razor Edge Performance here, and we're going to get into a discussion about jump progressions. So this is going to be the first video, and we're going to start with the very basics. So one of the things I like to do with pretty much every athlete, no matter what the age or skill level, is just take a few sessions or the first session to go over landing mechanics. Landing mechanics are how do we orient and sequence the body when we land from all our jumps. So the reason we start with landing mechanics is every single time you jump, you're going to have to land again. So we want to make sure that you're able to absorb all that force properly so that we don't cause injury. And two, every time you want to do a repeated jump, you're going to have to get into that loaded position again in order to sequence properly for your next jump. So if you want to be able to have 3 consecutive great jumps, your landing on your first jump is going to lead directly into the loading of your second jump, and the landing of your second jump is going to load directly into your third jump. So that's the reason why we teach it right away. We want to be able to make sure that our athletes stay healthy through multiple jump sequences and lots of ground contact, but also because you want to set yourself up for great sequencing and great power on your next jumps in a circuit or a series. So one of the things, if you know physics at all, so if you don't, I'll give you a little bit of a brief descriptor. Landing is essentially the same thing as jumping. So that's why we always start there, because it's an easier progression, but it's a great way to teach eccentric strength and rate of force development. So rate of force development is how fast can you generate power or force and apply it to your body. So in this case, landing, our body's accelerating toward the ground. We have to rapidly generate force to stop that motion so we don't just crash into the floor. Opposite would be if we're on the ground already and we developed a lot of force quickly and we jumped as high as we could. So jumping and landing are exactly opposite vectors, but essentially the same thing. One's decelerating, one's accelerating. But if you're talking about direction, deceleration is negative acceleration and acceleration is negative deceleration. So it really depends on how you look at it. But essentially, if we're learning how to land properly, we're also learning how to jump properly. So we're going to go over technique here for a second. Here's Ian, and he's going to start in this really tall extended position. And as I say go, he's going to just throw his arms back and help him load into this landing position. So he's going to throw his arms back. That's going to help him with his sequencing. So it's going to help him sit his hips back, load up those hips, glutes, hamstrings. And then he's also going to load into his, his quads and his ankles, right? Or sorry, his knees and his ankles. So everything in the lower body is primed and loaded and ready to go. So it's either absorbing force right now and stopping movement, or it's absorbing force, stopping movement, and being ready to accelerate into a jump. So ideally, I'd probably have him, if it was a vertical jump, I'd probably have him a little bit taller, but we talked about that a bit on the track already. So the arms are super important here because they help create the timing for your loading pattern. And then if you were to come back up, the arms would be the first thing that would kind of help accelerating back up. So you can see how I'm just moving the wheel back and forth, but it looks almost like a counter movement jump. So by practicing how to load properly, I'm essentially setting the table for how he's going to unload right after. And if he had to do multiple jumps, he would just go through the same circuit over and over again. So one thing we can do is once we start to learn how to land properly, and this is just throwing the arms back, loading the hips, knees, ankles, and having the weight on the balls of your feet. That's going to allow you to explode through and use your ankles as well. But once we have that position down, what we can do for progression is we can start using those landing mechanics from different heights. So we can start from the ground, learning how to just load properly. And then what you can do is have them jump off small boxes and recreate that landing position in a nice, safe, steady manner. And then once he's done that really, really well, you can progress to counter movement jumps and then eventually, sequencing reactive jumps or something like that. So landing mechanics is step one. I hope you guys learned something from the video. But if you just follow these steps and just make sure that you get these down, you should be decelerating much better and preparing yourself for your jumps that follow. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a great day.